group for the first time at Milepa Trading Center. We had covered 41 kilometers at this point and the trip was getting more serious. We had some refreshments and then we hit the road once more. For the next 30 kilometers of the trip, the terrain was very flat with almost little or no climbs. The group separated into two pelotons. The first one was averaging 40 kilometers per hour whilst the second one was averaging 30 kilometers per hour. The first peloton was wasteful on their energy conservation strategy whilst the latter was more conservative on energy usage. The results of this were stage manifested later on in the trip. The weather was beautiful with clear skies. On most of this section, we had Mulanj Mountain straight ahead of us in full view. We enjoyed chatting whilst appreciating the magnificent mountain that this country is blessed with. It is one of the tallest mountains in Africa. Mulanj is Malawi's highest peak at 3,002 meters. It is known locally as the island in the sky because it rises almost sheer from the plains below, which have an average altitude of just 650 meters. After 63 kilometers of riding, we arrived at Miseu 4. We stopped briefly for some refreshments before proceeding. This place is a four-way intersection which has roads leading to Zomba, Migowi, Mulanj and Blantyre. It was a market day and we found people had packed their merchandise along the road. We needed to be careful or risk bumping into some pedestrians.
Oka. Oka. This is Miseu 4. And you can see the 4.
Our plan was to have an early lunch, but we arrived too early at 8:30 a.m. The restaurant was not yet open and they were still cleaning up and setting up plates for the day. There was no food that was ready to eat, so we decided to proceed to the next trading center, which was 20 kilometers away. The next 20 kilometers were the most enjoyable, as we all rode in a Peleton. What is a Peleton? You may ask. You'll hear this word used a lot in cycling commentary, whether it's the Tour de France or an Olympic road race. Quite simply, it's a large group of riders bunched together. There are many advantages of riding in a peloton, especially when you are facing a headwind on your route. I will only share a few for starters. Firstly, you share the workload. When you ride in a coordinated group, you can share the effort of breaking through the wind. The slipstream effect reduces drag, allowing you to ride faster with less individual effort. Secondly, there are energy savings. Riding in a peloton reduces aerodynamic drag, which means you use less energy to maintain a certain speed. This efficiency allows you to ride longer distances without feeling as fatigued. In addition, there are safety benefits. Group rides can be more enjoyable and safer than riding alone. Motorists can easily spot a peloton from afar than when you are riding solo. You also have fellow cyclists to warn you of hazards. You also have someone to communicate with and share the experience. Plus, it's a lot of fun. Having an early lunch was a good idea. But unfortunately, the restaurant wasn't ready. So people resorted to eat sugar canes after a few kilometers from the restaurant. Signs of fatigue began to show on some riders as we dropped Konda behind and had to wait for him to catch up. We continued to push all the way to Palombi, where we had our major break. We had our lunch there on the foot of the mountain. Good thing we called the restaurant in advance so that we didn't have to wait for the food to be prepared. It was a great plan. The amount of calories one burns on such an epic ride can be substantial. I was not surprised that after 80 kilometers many people were asking for something to eat or drink. A heavy meal was a must at this point. When you reach a point where everyone stops speaking and just pedals, you immediately know it's a food issue. I bet food was on everybody's mind at this point. Fortunately, it was just a kilometer away. It was a great relief to finally make it to our scheduled stop. We ate and drank as this was both our breakfast and lunch. We arrived just before 10 o'clock and we were back on schedule. We enjoyed our food whilst listening to a preaching on the TV about Ahab from the Bible. What a memorable preaching. Once we were done, we proceeded with our journey fully energized.